Good evening. Let me be the first to say welcome. I'm Dr. Dale Elizabeth Pearson, or Dr. Dale, the interim president here at Edinboro University. I'm going to say welcome and congratulations for all the work that you have done as you have graduated from Edinboro University. Tonight we honor you and your families and your loved ones and your friends. You've been nominated through faculty and staff and those who know you and your work and your service to communities and how you have been and using your skills as you have graduated from your wonderful education here at the Borough. The last 2 years have really demonstrated the grit and the tenacity and the passion that our graduates have as they've gotten their education and moved on to the worlds of work and their professional space. This is a very exciting time in our country and a very exciting time for Edinboro. Tonight we honor you, those who've come with you, those who love you, and of course, we are so grateful that you're here tonight to celebrate the awardees. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Amanda Brown-Sissom. I'm the Associate Vice President for Advancement and Alumni Engagement and the Campus Administrator here at Edinboro. And I want to echo Dr. Dale's welcome to you. It feels so good to finally be in this room with all of our 2020 and 2021 distinguished alumni. So please join me in a round of applause for them. We have many guests, special guests joining us this evening. First, we want to welcome all of the families of our 2020 and 2021 distinguished alumni and your guests, whether they're in the room this evening or we do have some that are joining us virtually and we are live streaming this event. So we're so glad that we have the opportunity to do that this year. I want to thank my colleagues, Provost Dr. Mike Hannon, Dr. Aaron Lake, who is the Dean of the School of Education and Director of Graduate Studies here at Edinboro, Dr. Scott Miller, who is the Dean of the School of Business and Interim Deans of the College of Science and Health Professions and College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, and Dr. Terrence Mitchell, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Edinboro, for agreeing to help me present these awards this evening. Greetings to our trustee, Dennis Frampton, Chuck Scalise, Executive Director of the Edinboro University Foundation, Pat Cintelli, who is actually a 2021 Distinguished Alumni, but is also our president of the Edinboro University Foundation, and their fellow board members are here with us tonight, so we're very thankful for them. I do need to thank our sponsors as well, which include the Edinboro University Foundation, Edinboro University Alumni Association, Erie Brewing, and our Highland ambassadors for helping out. Actually, one of our 2020, Natalie, raise your hand, where are you at? 2020 distinguished alumna actually was an ambassador, and I joked when she came in that she was doing the duties of the ambassador. She was helping other people in, so that is good training for leadership later on as well. Rob Frank and his team are here tonight helping us live stream as well as manage all of the videos that we'll use. And Aramark is here providing our food service and beverage service this evening. So please join me in thanking them. And of course, my staff who are spread out all over the room tonight to make sure that we make you feel as special as you are to us. We're here to celebrate you, as Dr. Dale mentioned, and tonight is really about that connection to this special place and what it meant to you when you were here, what it means to you now in your lives, and just celebrating all of your accomplishments that with you as we can. Each year, the nominations are received from across campus for the Distinguished Alumni Awards. The purpose of the awards is to recognize graduates of Edinboro University who have distinguished themselves in their careers and through service to the university and their community. Our distinguished alumni are our very best examples of the grit, passion, determination of our students and the high-quality education received at Edinboro University. Nominees must have graduated. They also must have achieved excellence in their career field and or made significant contributions to advancing their field and or community. They must reflect a commitment to advancing the university through advocacy, promotion, volunteerism, and/or financial support. So that is the criteria that we ask our campus community to consider when nominating someone for this award. Tonight, Edinboro University is proud to recognize 5 distinguished alumni nominated by the campus community in 2020 and 5 nominated in 2021. All awardees being recognized have been approved by Interim President Dr. Dale Elizabeth Pearson, and the awardees, again, are joining us both in person and virtually. We will have 3 awardees who have sent in videos to share their acknowledgments and what they're doing in their lives today, so we'll view those in just a bit. We realize that we're still living with the realities of a global pandemic, and we've learned to take precautions and become a lot more flexible in how we connect. We now know that we need to take this time out to celebrate and gather together. It's very important to us, and we don't want to have another year go by where we don't stop and recognize the good things that people around us are doing. So again, we're glad to be together. That being said, we do ask that you keep in mind our campus COVID protocols and that masks are required as you're indoor in campus buildings unless you're eating or drinking. When leaving the celebration space to utilize the restrooms, take a break, or leave the event, please make sure that you mask up. Thank you. Tonight, we will also recognize the contributions of Bill Campbell, artist and longtime owner of the Campbell Pottery, located in Cambridge Springs, Pennsylvania. The 2020 and 2021 Distinguished Alumni Awards were created this year by Campbell Pottery. Each is a unique work of art and functional. They are located at the tables of each awardee as their centerpiece for this evening. Please join me in thanking Bill and Jane and the team from Campbell Pottery for working with us to create this year's awards. We have much to celebrate. My colleagues and I will present the 2020 Distinguished Alumni Awards first. Then we will take time out to do a special recognition of Bill Campbell, and then we will return to celebrate the 2021 awardees. An abbreviated bio will be shared for each awardee, and then they will have time to either accept their award in person from the podium or by video. As we begin, I just want to say that I am honored that you're here this evening with us, and that I am thankful for your commitment, for each awardee's commitment to excellence, but also to your alma mater. Thank you. Dean Dr. Scott Miller will lead us in presenting the awards.
Thanks, Amanda. Good evening. Stephen Haywood earned his Bachelor of Science Art Composite Ceramics and Secondary Teaching Certification from Southern Utah University and his Master's of Fine Arts degree in Ceramics with a minor in printmaking from Edinboro University in 2002. Stephen is an artist and professor of ceramics and design at the University of North Florida in Jacksonville, where he teaches courses in all levels of undergraduate ceramics as well as directing individual studies. He teaches both two-dimensional and three-dimensional design. He's responsible for maintaining, organizing, and running all facets of the ceramics programming, including kiln repair, maintenance, and materials inventory and ordering. Stephen serves in various college departmental committees and oversees and coordinates adjunct ceramics faculty. He's been training and supervising student assistants. Prior teaching posts in higher education include Florida Community College at Jacksonville, Mercyhurst University in Erie, Butler Community College. Stephen is also taught in his community. He is an invited instructor at the John C. Campbell Folk School in Braston, North Carolina. Stephen's work has been featured consistently for over 2 decades in a variety of peer-reviewed and invitational national exhibitions and in national periodicals. In November, you can find his work at the 14th Annual Cup Show Form and Function at the National Juried Exhibition at Tapper Center Gallery in Panama City, Florida. and in January 2022 at the Soho exhibition at Baltimore Clayworks in Space Gallery in Baltimore, Maryland. He just completed a 4-day workshop in October, demonstration and lecture at Purdue University in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's a visiting artist lecturer, and workshop was held in conjunction with the invitational exhibition Ceramic Vessels Breadth, installed at the Purdue University Gallery. While at Edinburgh, Stephen joined with 3 other Edinburgh Ceramics MFA alumni, forming a group of artists called The Firm. The Firm has been conducting artist workshops and showing their artwork together in group exhibitions for years all across the country. They are one of the only examples of this type of group collaboration in the field of American ceramics, and they are all Edinburgh alumni. When not creating, exhibiting, writing about, and teaching art, Stephen is a leader in the Mormon Church in Florida, where he served as the bishop of his regional church. He actively serves in Jacksonville community through outreach and volunteerism. His nominator, Professor Chuck Johnson, describes why he nominated Haywood. In November 2015, Steve invited me to be a visiting artist at the University of North Florida, where he teaches. I stayed with him and his family at their home in Jacksonville and spent 2 full days with him, his family, and his students at the university. What I witnessed was an incredible family man who is in charge of a dynamic university ceramics program, was a leader and bishop in his church, and was still finding time to make artwork. Every time Steve shows his ceramic work or gives a workshop at a university or art center, he shines a positive light back on Edinburgh University. I have personally heard him speak with pride about his time in our program and many personal connections he made on our campus. His success as a teacher and an artist reflect well on our school. End of quote. Please join me in recognizing Steve Haywood for his leadership to his craft, his faith, and his community.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations to all those awardees and all those that are being honored for the Distinguished Alumni. It's an honor to be included in this great group of people. I wish that I could be there in Edinburgh in person and there at the university, but unfortunately, I'm not able to. Thanks to all those who have supported me and for this great honor, and thank you to my professors, the art professors at the university, and especially to my professors Chuck Johnson, Lee Rexroad, and Stephen Kamenifi. My time at Edinburgh University was a pivotal time in my life. It was a great opportunity for me to be able to connect with mentors and to be able to make great friends that are lifelong friends today. Thank you to those friends, to my professors, to those at the university, to my family, most especially to my family, to my wife, and to my children for their unending support and belief in me. Again, thanks everybody, and congratulations.
Our next award recipient, Deborah Dixon. Ms. Dixon earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Speech-Language Pathology at Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, formerly Edinburgh State College, in 1973. She was 2 years old. She went on to earn her Master of Arts in Speech-Language Pathology and Secondary Education Supervisor Certification Program from the University of Pittsburgh. She's a private practitioner and consultant, helping school districts improve the efficiency and effectiveness of speech-language pathologists, designing and implementing professional development programs on a wide range of topics to speech-language pathologists, such as service delivery models, collaboration strategies, and ethics, and providing private speech-language pathology services to individuals with communication disorders. In previous roles, Deborah served as the Director of School Services at the American Speech-Language Hearing Association, Master Teacher in Speech-Language Pathologist and Coordinator of Special Education at North Allegheny School District, Speech-Language Pathologist at Allegheny Intermediate Unit and Pittsburgh's Board of Education, and a state consultant for technical assistance for sensory impaired programs for the Pennsylvania Department of Special Education. She's shaped her field as a former site visitor for the Council on Academic Accreditation, Pennsylvania Department of Special Education, and Compliance Monitor. She is the former chairperson of the North Allegheny Foundation, former legislative counsel to ASHA. She has presented at various state and national conferences and conventions and co-authored RTI in Action, Oral Language Activities for K-2 Classrooms, and RTI in Action, grades 3 to 5, Oral Language Activities for the Common Core State Standards. Her resume includes several other publications and examples of service to her field and community, although I'm exhausted just reading this. Deborah Dixon has been recognized by her dedication and service to advancing the field of speech-language pathology. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Deborah Dixon.
Well, thank you so much. This feels like comps week. I'm so nervous. Thank you so much for honoring me and my career in this very special way. It means so much to me. Any honor to an individual reflects a history of mentoring and caring provided by others. Here at Edinboro, I felt as if I had a family surrounding me of such people. Dr. Fercucci, Mr. Simmons, Dr. Carruthers, Mr. Gramley, just to name a few, though there were many, many more. And you can tell how old I am by the people that I reference at the time. Of course, there's many friends and family members who are also important in my life and my career. And I wanted to thank all of you, especially my husband, Chuck, and my son, Brandon. The true impact of any university program is not only the coursework, but also the opportunity for engagement in campus life. I learned so much serving as a student rep to the faculty senate, the dorm council, student government, as well as working in a dean's office. Of course, I learned a great deal partying with my friends and fellow students, but that's a story for another day. Edinboro's Communication Sciences Disorders program was very strong in coaching students to understand research, but more importantly, to apply it successfully and to make a difference in the lives of the individuals with communication differences. Here is where I learned that the relationships developed with clients and students were as important to successful outcomes as the science of treatment. I've been blessed with a wonderful career that allowed me to serve children with a variety of communication and hearing differences in public schools, at the state level, and finally at the end of my career as the Director of Clinical Services in Schools at the American Speech and Hearing Association. I really feel my foundation in leadership started here at Edinboro. Not only leadership, but caring. In every capacity I've served, what drove me is the care and passion I had for making sure that everybody was treated well and got to where they wanted to go. And now, as a retiree, I focused my retirement on 3 different kinds of activities. I wanted to first do something that gave back to others. Then I wanted to do something that helped me continue learning. And then third of all, I just wanted to do fun stuff. So I am a CASA, a court-appointed special advocate for children in the foster care system. I'm also a docent with Annapolis Historic Association. I also serve on other boards and sort of things, so that's part of my giving back to others. I take a variety of classes at American University and other places. I'm also able to go back to those universities in the local DC area and talk about the wonders of speech pathology. Yes, there are wonders of speech pathology. We also sponsor midshipmen from the Naval Academy living in Annapolis and have lots of great times. So that fun part, I have become a lady who lunches. So I was asked to share a little bit of advice. So here we go. Practice kindness with others as well as yourself. Realize that it's often those small things in life that make a difference. You know, I hadn't gone to kindergarten, so I started school in 1st grade. It was an amazing new experience for me to be with all these other children. Well, apparently I had a propensity to chat quite a bit with my classmates, despite what my teacher told me. One day, I was required to wear a sign that said, "I am a talker." Little did that teacher know, she may have set me on the pathway to helping others learning to talk. Whether you're a student, a professor, a retiree, keep learning. Not only about aspects of your career and your profession, but learn about the world and how you can make it a better place. Being a Pittsburgher, Mr. Rogers often talked about looking for those helpers. So look for those helpers, but be those helpers too. And finally, I will be going back to Pittsburgh this weekend to celebrate a birthday, I'm not telling you which one, by cheering on the Steelers at the stadium on Monday night. So I'd like to suggest that although we have to age, we never need to grow old. So have fun, enjoy what you're doing, and keep smiling. And thank you again for this honor that both humbles me and touches my heart. Thank you.
Thank you for those great words. Our next recipient is William Rothenbaugh. Bill Rothenbaugh received his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology in 1976, and then went on to earn his Master of Arts in Industrial and Organizational Psychology from the University of Akron, where he earned a graduate assistantship and interned at General Tire Company. Bill is certified both as a senior professional in human resources and senior certified professional, and has strengthened his field as a teacher, mentor, writer, and volunteer in multiple professional review boards, organizations, and trade associations. Bill is currently the president of Harbor Lights Human Resource Consulting, LLC, where he utilizes decades of senior-level human resource experience to coach fellow business leaders in solutions-focused talent management. Bill served as senior leadership roles at Old Mutual Financial Network, J.M. Huber Corporation, and Black & Decker, and early in his career had experiences at Procter & Gamble, Bausch & Lomb, Sara Lee Corporation, and Rockwell International. From 2005 to 2010, he served as associate faculty at Towson University's Graduate School of Human Resources and as a member of the Human Resource Planning Society, Society for Human Resource Management, Chesapeake Human Resources Association, American Psychology Association, and Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology, among other organizations. Bill has authored several articles in publications such as HR Magazine and Training and Development Journal. He's also an award-winning abstract expressionist artist. Bill currently serves in the Edinburgh University College of Science and Health Professions Advisory Committee, is a former board member of Edinburgh University Alumni Association, and established the William F. Rothenbaugh Psychology Scholarship at Edinburgh University to benefit students for pursuing their degree in psychology. You're going to find all of our recipients will make us feel like we need to step it up a notch, right? So he is being recognized for his success in his field and his service and philanthropy to the students and mission of Edinburgh University. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Bill Rothenbaugh.
Good evening, everyone, and it is a wonderful evening, isn't it? Scott, thank you so much for that introduction, and I'd also like to thank Dr. Dale and Amanda and everyone else that's been involved in organizing this wonderful event tonight. Anyone that knows me knows that myself, a microphone, a podium, a captive audience, and a 3-minute time limit is the definition of Mission Impossible. But here we go. I'm going to try to do my best. It's such a pleasure to be here this evening. It's always a pleasure to come back to Edinburgh. I'm deeply honored to receive this award and humbled to be recognized along with all the other incredible alumni who are here in person and those also celebrating online. Edinburgh University, or Edinburgh State College, as it was called when I graduated, is such a huge part of me. Those that have heard some of my campus speeches over the years have heard me talk about my love affair with Edinburgh. At last count, it's going on 45 years. It's a 45-year love affair with Edinburgh at this point. But there are definite reasons for that. Edinburgh prepared me extremely well for graduate school at the University of Akron, where I successfully competed with my peers from big, well-known schools like Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, and did just as well being trained very well here at Edinburgh. Edinburgh helped me to develop the skills and professional habits I needed to be successful in business at companies like Black & Decker and Procter & Gamble, Bausch & Lomb. Yes, I tended to work with companies that had an "and" in there someplace. And as a senior corporate executive. Lastly, Edinburgh helped me to develop my people and business relationship skills and to identify what was important for me in life and how to prioritize those and put plans together so that I could accomplish those. For these reasons, I'll always be grateful to Edinburgh, and it will always have a special place in my heart. The Edinburgh I remember will always be here, and it will always be here. I'd like to thank my parents for recognizing the importance of a college education, supporting me as I pursued my academic degrees, and pushing me to be the best that I could be. I'd specifically like to thank some of my psychology professors. I'd like to thank Dr. Kennedy for his guidance. I'd like to thank Dr. Kramer for his business expertise and experience. And I'd like to thank Dr. Culbertson for his passion for psychology, his mentorship, and his sage advice. I'd also like to thank Dr. Gary Levine for nominating me for this honor. My appreciation goes out to the administration, to all those faculty that I've had the pleasure of interacting with over the years, and as well as my fellow students, who, as we all know, also helped to shape us to become the person that we ultimately become. I'd like to thank my sister Sharon and my brother-in-law Paul for helping share this evening with me tonight. And lastly, I'd like to thank my incredible daughters, Brittany and Gretchen, who also happens to be an Edinburgh graduate, so it runs in the family. And my amazing grandson Carter, Rob and Tony, my son-in-laws, my beautiful girlfriend Colleen, and all my other family and friends who could not be here this evening for their love and support, especially over the past few years. In closing, earlier I said I was happy to be here. Actually, I'm happy to be anywhere today. For 2 years ago, I received the incredible gift of life with a heart transplant. And since then, I've been trying to make new memories. And this will certainly be one of those fondest memories. So thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you, Bill. That was inspiring. I would like to now introduce Dr. Aaron Lake, the Dean of the School of Education and Executive Director for Graduate Studies and Research, who will present the next award. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. We are here to recognize Natalie Harris. Natalie Harris earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Health and Physical Education with a minor in Spanish in 2004 and a Master's of Educational Leadership in 2008 from Edinburgh University. While at Edinburgh, Harris was recognized as a 2004 NCAA Division II Academic All-American Team for Tennis, and a 2001-2002 selection for the NCAA Division II All-Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference Team for Softball. In 2020, she earned her qualifying commission letter for superintendents, option 2. She was in the Executive Development Program from the National Institute for School Leadership, Pennsylvania Inspired Leadership Academy. Natalie is the principal at Northwestern High School in Albion, Pennsylvania, where she previously served as assistant principal beginning in 2017. Natalie is laser-focused on closing the achievement gap in her rural district. Prior to her roles in administration, Natalie taught in the HPE Education Department at the middle school level and served as assistant athletic director for the district. During her tenure, she secured community and school board support for a new wellness room at the middle school, rewrote the entire middle school PE curriculum, and created 2 PE electives, lifetime activities and wellness foundations. Natalie was awarded a collaborative DEP grant for handheld GPS units to integrate into the PE curriculum, grades 6 to 12. These are just some examples of how she has utilized her background in health and physical education to not only connect with her students, but to expand our thinking on how bodily kinetics impact learning. She is an advocate for restorative discipline practices, embraces innovation, and utilizes social media platforms, as well as the simulated principal's office on the school's website to help engage her students, their families, and the community that she serves. Natalie is a great partner to Edinburgh School of Education in supervising junior field and student teachers within her building. Natalie also collaborates with the Educational Leadership Department here at Edinburgh while taking on principal interns. Natalie has continued to give back to the university by dedicating her time while serving as a postgraduate School of Education CAPE Accreditation Committee member. Tonight, she is being recognized for her leadership and innovation in education. Please join me in congratulating Mrs. Natalie Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Lake, and good evening, everyone. Congratulations to all of the award winners. There is a sign in my office that reads, "When you get there, remember where you came from." We left the Mon Valley when I was 4 years old. My parents packed up our entire home. We said our goodbyes to grandparents in Belle Vernon and Monessen, and we made the 3-hour drive to the west side of Cleveland. Avon Lake would become our home, and my parents would start our new lives there. Our fresh start at life no longer revolved around a steel mill or Broad Avenue apparel or the RC Cola truck that my dad used to drive. My mother and father were focused on giving us a chance to succeed in life and always wanted better for Brenda and me than they had for themselves. I am the only member of my immediate family that returned to Pennsylvania, and Edinburgh University is what brought me back. Pennsylvania is where my family first learned of work ethic, resiliency, and love for each other. We cherish those things as a family unit and pride ourselves in focusing on those very attributes as we travel along our individual paths. A very special thank you to all of my family members for investing, believing in, and loving me. A very special thank you to my parents for supporting me during my time here at Edinburgh and being a constant support to me during my adult life. Individual success is only truly felt when it's shared with those that love you and help to get you there. Galen, thank you very much for being by my side. You came into my life after my first year of being here at Edinburgh, and since then, you have been my constant source of support. You bought into this life from the start, at the very beginning when I was a phys ed teacher. I knew you were the one the moment you didn't run for the hills when we were on our summer vacation and I was looking all over for Wi-Fi to submit graduate school assignments. We're going to blame that on you, Dr. Pushchak. Today, you are a familiar face on the sidelines and the voice on the live stream and the calmness to our lives as we navigate the welcome demands of me being a principal. We couldn't do anything without you. There is a department on this campus that took an 18-year-old athletically focused student and pushed and molded and shaped her into the educational leader that stands here this evening. During my undergraduate years, I engaged in their classes over many semesters, and it became quite clear that I needed to take and develop the professional mindset of a young educator. Expectations of excellence that mirrored my athletic drive began to take the form of collared shirts and clean sneakers, hours of rewriting notes, and studying for perfection on the top floor of this very building. In Lawrence Towers and Dearborn, I rehearsed anticipatory sets and paced out lessons late into the evening that would hopefully capture the attention of eager students the very next morning. This same department prides itself on producing graduates that know learning targets can be found in the form of PDE 10.1.4a or something that you can teach students to hit with an arrow after releasing it perfectly from a drawn bow while using 3 of the 5 components of physical fitness. In Macomb, I learned that little things matter and that attention to detail matters, even when it takes the form of a George Chimpano lesson on the safest way to open pressurized tennis balls. These were the moments that I grew accustomed to and therefore solidified that the Health and Physical Education Department was my home. What we do as physical educators is crucial to the development of young students in our schools. The professors and doctors of Crawford Center and Macomb Fieldhouse ensure that students graduating from the Department of Health and Physical Education are capable to do things they never even dreamed of. Tonight, this award is not mine, it's the department's. Thank you all very much for teaching me, helping me grow, and now getting me to the point where I call each of you a mentor, colleague, and most importantly, a friend. That same department had me so well prepared out of school that I earned a middle school health and physical education teaching position at the best-kept secret in Erie County, the Northwestern School District. That rural school district took a chance on me at 22 years old. They had me teaching, coaching, running student council, taking on the assistant athletic director role, you name it, and I probably did it. I did it because I loved it. I thought that my principal at the time just trusted me. Turns out I was the only one crazy enough to do all those things at the same time. I began to formulate my zest for educational leadership and said to myself, you have to get this level 2 certification for something, so you might as well get busy on it. And that's the point where I loved it, and I dove in, and I began to visualize myself doing this for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be an administrator anywhere else. I wanted to stay at Northwestern. I waited 8 years for a position to open at that school, and when it did, I made sure to prepare for this process, just as my graduate coursework at Edinboro prepared me to do. I knew I would be ready and that I would give it my all, and I am thankful every single day to be an administrator within the Northwestern School District. I have been fortunate to work with some of the very best and continue to learn from them every single day. The icing on the cake this evening is to have some of my very best friends, colleagues, and former students here with me tonight. Thank you to each and every person in the Northwestern community for pushing me to be a better teacher, administrator, and person. I consider myself beyond fortunate to have each of you in my professional and personal circle. The School of Education didn't just prepare me to be a principal. They laid the groundwork for me to continue to grow into the educational leader that I am going to be. Edinboro University of Pennsylvania has afforded me so much in my professional life, and I feel fortunate to still be called by name whenever I return to campus. It speaks volumes to the sense of community and collegiality that remains here long after the coursework is done. To receive this honor tonight as a distinguished alumni isn't something that I did, it's something that we did. Thank you to all of you. I appreciate you being here, and go Borough.
Thank you, Natalie. Now we're going to recognize Kristin Austin. Dr. Kristin Austin earned her bachelor's degree in social work from Bloomsburg University, master's degree in college student affairs from Edinboro University in 2006, and her doctorate in higher education leadership and administration from Immaculata University, and a professional certificate in diversity, equity, and inclusion from Cornell University. She considers herself a serial learner and a lover of writing. She is presently pursuing a master's degree in professional and digital media writing from East Stroudsburg University. For nearly 20 years, Dr. Austin has been privileged to work at public, private, domestic, and international universities in positions focusing on educational equity and access, student transition and retention, and student leadership development. Presently, Dr. Austin serves as the Director of Ideas, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access at Rewriting the Code, RTC, an international not-for-profit organization dedicated to retraining and graduating college women in technology majors to disrupt the gender and racial inequity pervasive in the technology career sector. By empowering, resourcing, and equipping college women in tech, RTC ensures women are represented in any space where decisions are made and innovation is happening. Before this role, Dr. Austin served as Senior Director of New Student Programs at Westchester University and Assistant Director of New Student and Family Programs at Bloomsburg University. In addition, Dr. Austin served a 2-year role as a Frederick Douglass Faculty Fellow in the Department of Teaching and Learning at Bloomsburg University. There she taught graduate courses in the Master's Program in Educational Leadership and College Student Affairs. Dr. Austin has continued her educator career via adjunct faculty roles at institutions including Bloomsburg University, Kutztown University, and DeSales University, where she teaches courses in higher ed, student affairs, graduate programs. Dr. Austin's contributions to the field of higher education include serving on numerous institutional and statewide academic enrollment management and student affairs committees, annual presenter at regional and national conferences, keynote speaker at national professional conferences, as well as a present role as president of the Pennsylvania chapter, PCPA, of ACPA International, and a former role as the faculty community of practice chair also for PCPA. She serves as a subject matter expert and national presenter for Wise Action, a nationally recognized authority on college readiness and college transition. Dr. Austin is extensively involved in several intersecting communities, including service, faith, and social justice. She serves on several nonprofit boards whose missions prioritize education, access, and youth development. Finally, Dr. Austin also offers institutional, organizational, and direct-to-family consulting and coaching on topics related to college transition via KE Advancement Incorporated. That's also www.advancewithkristen.com. The flagship program, College for Families, takes college-going families from college concerned to college confident, from college concerned to college confident by centering cultural diversity, humor, reality, and a big box of tissues. She is the mother of 3 and married to a fellow higher education professional. Dr. Austin is being recognized for her research, service, and dedication to the pursuit of educational equity and access, successful strategies for student transition and retention, and student leadership development. Please join me in celebrating Dr. Kristin Austin.
Hello, everyone. So I really, after that bio, I have to make it awkward and say that I wish I had put in the bio that I was also the mouse at Chuck E. Cheese for 7 years. And that's actually what I'm most proud of. So I need to do some reworking on that because that's what matters, being a mascot, right? Cheering people on. So I'm going to say some names that have to do with the experience I had as an Edinboro University student. I hope that some of these names land in your laps and in your hearts the way they did for me. Peggy Bevavino. She put me in her book as a grad student. The book she wrote was called The ABCs of College Student Success. I forgot I can take this off. The ABCs of College Student Success. And when she did that, she taught me that writing could be both academic and fun. And then Melanie Lewis. Melanie Lewis left us far too early. But Melanie Lewis taught me that I was a fit for the student affairs field. And she was the first person to let me run wild with my ideas. And she would say to me, okay, try it. And if you know anything about me, I just need someone to open the door. I'll take it from there. Lastly, Susan Norton. She taught me how to think like a scholar and introduced me to Cross's theory of negrescence, which forever changed my understanding of racial identity development. But all of these things almost didn't happen. When I was looking for a graduate school to pursue lifelong learning, I needed one that didn't require the GRE. I needed it. I needed a school because although you just heard that kind of cool bio, maybe, and you see and observe me up here speaking semi-fluently, I have a significant learning disability, and the learning disability that I have was not able to be accommodated on the GRE. And so because of that, even though I had a really great undergraduate career at Bloomsburg University, I wasn't afforded accommodations to allow me to be successful on the GRE, which kept me out of a lot of graduate schools. So Peggy Bevavino, Melanie Lewis, Sue Norton, and so many other people, again, none of this almost happened. Something else that almost didn't happen was finding Edinboro. I finally landed on a graduate school that was out of state, that was willing to take a chance on an awkward, smiley, way too chipper girl who wanted to just start school. And they were willing to take a chance on me without a GRE. So I'm packed up and I'm ready. I had a full scholarship. I'm so excited. And then I met a guy. And so I did the thing that most parents don't want their children to do, is I threw it all away after waiting and waiting and trying to get into a grad school who would look past the GRE. Within 72 hours, I was like, sorry, no, I met a guy. So again, Edinboro almost didn't happen. However, now that it did, I'm so glad that it did. So glad. So I want to thank Edinboro University for all of the opportunities that it extended to me to allow me to be a representative for other young or shy or introverted or awkward or learning disabled students out there to understand that they too can thrive and persist. I want to thank my mother and father-in-law who are here representing that guy who couldn't be here today because he's at home on quarantine duty with one of our 3 kids. So he could not make it today, but my mother and father-in-law, who I love dearly, came in from Ohio to be in his stead. So I want to thank them. And then lastly, I want to also thank my parents, Reverend Dr. Charles and Jennifer Mock. My mom is a lifelong retired educator, and my dad is a lifelong scholar, writer, thinker. And the combination of all of these amazing people, add in Peggy Bevavino, Melanie Lewis, and Dr. Sue Norton, has really made me humbled and privileged to stand before you today, and thank you for this award. And last but not least, the advice that I was asked to share with anyone who would trust the Chuck E. Cheese mouse is go after love. Whether it's the romantic love, whether it's the passion love, or whether it's those pretzel caramel truffles on the back table, go after what you love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristin. I believe I turn it over to Amanda now. Thank you.
Dr. Austin, that's going in your alumni file, by the way. I have the privilege tonight of, first of all, saying we're halfway through, and I will tell you that typically presenting 5 to 6 alum takes an hour and a half. So we are moving through tonight, guys. Good job. But I want to take a moment out from what we've been doing of recognizing the 2020 Distinguished Alumni to spend a little bit of time on an alumnus who absolutely deserves the Distinguished Alumni title, but we actually wanted to do something a little bit different for him this year. He's a creator, he's a teacher, he's an entrepreneur, he's an alumnus, but the title he likes best is Potter. He graduated from Edinboro University in 1974 in Fine Arts and Ceramics. He was recruited here by Donna Nicholas, who's with him tonight. Donna, you want to wave to everybody? All right, from a community college where he was studying. And so he wasn't from our area, but he met someone who loved this special place. And she pointed out to him that he belonged here. So let's hear a little bit now from William H. Bill Campbell, class of 1974 here at Edinboro.
Bill Campbell, I'm a potter. I came here in 1980, actually the last week of 1979. I came to Edinboro because somebody had said that it would be a good place. It was Donna Nicholas. Donna Nicholas had once taught in a junior college that I went to back in Flint, Michigan. And she was there visiting, and she saw some of my work, and she said, maybe you ought to come and look at Edinboro. And said, if you want to, I'll put you up for a night and you can have a look at it and I'll take you through. And with that encouragement, I did come out and had a look, and I liked what I saw. I liked a lot about what the school was about. One of them was that I could be in the school 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With the help of Donna Nicholas, who got me some fire bricks, I actually made a kiln outside of town. Actually, I made two of them, a salt kiln and a reduction kiln. And I came in to go to school, and when I wasn't in school, I was at home making stuff. One of the things that we probably don't learn in school is to take risks. And being able to take a risk and set up your own studio and go to work on that sort of thing is not something that necessarily gets taught, but it has something that in order to succeed, you have to take a risk. You can fail, but you can also win too. Things have changed so much during the years that I've been gone, and there are so many different ways of doing things that weren't being taught quite yet, that I was really impressed with what I was seeing. I like this new building and the attitudes that go with it, is that I'm just astounded at how many kilns there are, and all of the space that's here really is a big opportunity to have all of this nice stuff here. I always wanted to make stuff that people use, people would handle it and use it when they're eating or reaching away and put it away in a cupboard or in a dishwasher or doing this or that, and still enjoy what they're doing, enjoy handling it and seeing it. We got to the point where we actually were making a living, and after that, the idea of making money went away, and the idea of being able to please people and to make things that they want, feeling good about what people are buying rather than the money that you make from doing it. There's a certain amount of pride that goes with being able to supply people all over the United States. The store, we're supplying pots to about 300, maybe 350 stores stretched across the country, in all of the states but Hawaii. And we started getting phone calls from people that were really disappointed that we were leaving, and we've been getting messages from them. We've even had them as late as this week wanting to know where they could get some of our potteries. I keep running into people. I was in Columbus, Ohio one night walking down the street, and we went past a bar where a woman yelled out, "Oh, there goes my potter." And it's interesting how many people knew who we were. Here we are out in the middle of nowhere, and we've got people coming all of the time to our store. And a lot of those people I've met at craft fairs across the country and know about us from being in little stores across the country. It was interesting to find out that people knew about me that just through my work. Get all of these skills that you learn in school or you learn in your life, and being able to recognize some of the things that you're doing as being something that you want to follow and something that other people will like you to follow has been good for me.
So for those of you from the area or while you were here at school, if you've been here in the last 30 years, you've known Campbell Pottery. You see it advertised on I-79 when you're traveling north or south once you get to this region. And it's really a staple to this area. In the spring, the community was notified that there was a decision made that Jane and Bill were going to retire and that Campbell Pottery was going to close and it was going to finish its work. And it was at that moment when we were, just beginning, or we were working on planning the 2020 and 2021 event for the spring. And so we had a conversation in our office about using alumni work for the awards moving forward, and that the alumnus that we needed to focus on and use his work first was Bill Campbell, so that you had the opportunity to have a piece of his work that so many across the country have in their homes, use every day, admire, including myself, my staff members. We all have our Campbell Pottery pieces. And we wanted to make sure that this group got to have that experience too. And as we did that, we thought, what are we doing? We shouldn't only be buying this work, we should be recognizing what Campbell Pottery was all about. Because Campbell Pottery wasn't just producing artwork that was functional and used in everyone's homes, but it became this place that reinforced the region as a creative space. It was the complement to, it was one of the complements to an amazing art program here on our campus. It kept bringing people back to this region, artists, but also just, people who were out shopping, people on their way to Grove City or Pittsburgh, and they would stop and they would spend time here. So tonight, as we honor Bill, we honor all that he's done for this area. He's an artist, but he's a teacher. And as we got to interview him, we learned a lot about how he trained his team. How do you produce enough work with consistency that it's used all over the country and it's sold in so many other people's stores? He proved that you could make a living doing what you loved right here in Crawford County, actually, but we'll claim him in Erie County too. The group recognized that the economic impact and the visitors that were drawn to this region for 30 years to his store, that's a gap that we now have to fill in this region. And no doubt with the talent that we have here, we can and we will. But that was happening, and while he was focused on making the next piece or training his team to produce, that was all occurring too. Tonight we have guests from the Edinboro Community and Economic Development Corporation, Economic Progress Alliance from Crawford County, and the Crawford County Convention and Visitors Bureau because of Campbell Pottery, because they wanted to celebrate with you tonight as well. We realize that impact that you made. You created a space for not only creating, but celebrating art. And all types, because over time, there would be gatherings at Campbell Pottery that were, where a band was playing, or, you had someone demonstrating art. So it became more than just a place where art was made and sold. It was also where artists gathered. It was also a place for the community to connect. And it reinforced, again, this as a creative place. And because you've done this for us, we wanted to make sure we did something special for you. We wanted to make sure that you always have a place on this campus. So, in Bill's honor, we are going to have a new bench installed very near all those kilns so that as you retire and you need a place to come and stay and contemplate, and you can see all the wonderful things that are happening here, that you're honored. And that bench will read, William H. Campbell, class of '74, in appreciation for over 30 years of service and dedication to making Edinburgh region a place known for creativity. Please join me in thanking and celebrating Bill Campbell. And a special thanks to Jane and Donna as well, because he told me if I didn't blame them enough for all the work that he's done, that he'd come up and do it himself. So, so we do want to thank them as well. I now want to introduce Dr. Terrence Mitchell, who is going to present our next awards. And we are moving on to the class of 2021 Distinguished Alumni.
All right. So I like Amanda a lot because I never do this. Well, I also like the person who I'm awarding a lot. When I first got to Edinburgh, I've been to Edinburgh for 3 years, so I'm a relative newbie, and so I'm gonna go off script for just a moment. I got called to Pittsburgh by a group of alumni, and so I got to this really nice restaurant, and they let me have a really nice meal, and then Sean, who did not eat, asked me questions. And after he got through asking me questions, what I knew about alumni was that you guys are very passionate, you're very dedicated to this institution, and that you keep us on our toes. And that's what has driven my work, and that's what also has driven our success in the work that I'm trying to do. Sean Gibson came to Edinburgh after attending Robert Morris University. He earned his degree in criminal justice in 1995 after first winning the support and respect of his coaches, teammates, and fans on the basketball court. In 1992-93, Gibson scored 467 points in a season, which was the 11th highest total in school history at the time. Now, I'm not a sports fan, but that sounds like a lot of points to me. So I think he did a great job, Education and sport go hand in hand in the Gibson family. Today, the great-grandson of Negro League baseball legend Josh Gibson, Sean is focused on how his baseball lineage can preserve history and shape a bright future for young people in Pittsburgh. Sean serves as executive director of the Josh Gibson Foundation, which provides access to academic and athletic programs, facilities, and baseball fields to youth. Through partnerships with teams, players, schools, businesses, and other community-based organizations, the goals of the Josh Gibson Foundation are to expand support programs for the educational and nutritional needs of at-risk youth, create potential for improving school retention by engaging students in exciting career development opportunities, and providing for all residents of the region, but especially students, with opportunities to learn about Pittsburgh's rich history as the heart of the Negro League for decades, and combine sports with math and science in an active website to promote learning. The organization also works to preserve the heritage and history of Josh Gibson and the Negro League. Sean divides his time between these objectives. He is an author. He contributed to Unlucky 21, The Saddest Stories and Games in Pittsburgh Sports History, published in 2019. He speaks nationally about his great-grandfather, the Negro League, and the mission of the foundation in empowering youth. And he's an advocate, working with others to get Major League Baseball to officially recognize the Negro Leagues in 2020 and in 2021 to integrate Negro Leagues players' records into MLB official records, so they can be easily and accurately compared with other MLB players. Sean has even tried his hand at acting. I saw you. One thing Sean doesn't know, my grandfather was a Negro Leagues baseball player. And he bragged about it his whole life, and not being a sports fan, I didn't know what he was bragging about. But when I moved to the Pittsburgh region, I recognized the impact of those baseball players on sports history, and I really salute you in that work, Sean. That's very important work that you're doing. Along with his many contributions and accolades, Sean was awarded the Martin Luther King Jr. Award for Service from Edinburgh University in 2019. I was your nominator, Sean, and I was your nominator because you've shown me through your work, through your passion for the young people in Pittsburgh, and for your passion for Edinboro, how I'm supposed to do the work that I'm assigned to do. So thank you very much for that from me. We're so glad that Sean and his family could come join us tonight and to be recognized for his leadership and advocacy in both honoring the past and empowering the future. Please help me in congratulating Sean Gibson as a 2021 Edinboro University Distinguished Alumnus.
Well, thank you. Before I get started, so y'all see this cover? I'll sign it for $5 before we leave. But I want to say this, a few things. First of all, I want to thank, definitely want to thank Edinboro University for allowing me to be here, for being a student here in 1995, be able to graduate. I definitely want to thank Amanda, Kristin, who actually, I just found out, actually put me on the cover, which is good. So thank you for that. Definitely want to thank my fraternity brother, Terrence Mitchell. Thank all of my coaches and my professors while I was here at Edinboro University. I also want to congratulate all the fellow awardees tonight from 2020, as well as this year of 2021. I want to thank you guys as well. I also want to recognize my family who's here today. We took the 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my granddaughter was, not complaining, but she was telling us to hurry up, So I have my girlfriend, Joy, is with me today. My granddaughter right there holding my picture in front, but then she opened the magazine up. My grandson, his name is Sean, and my daughter, who is here as well. So I want to thank them for coming. I have 4 girls, and my daughter blessed me with naming my grandson after me, so I was very excited about that. So he's little Sean. Wow, the Distinguished Alumni Award. I came to Edinboro University, never imagined to be leaving here with an award. My goal was to come to school, play sports, get a degree, and go on and do my work in the community. But I'm very truly honored and blessed to be able to receive this distinguished honor of this 2021 Distinguished Alumni Award. Where it all began for me is, you probably read my bio in the book. I grew up in inner city public housing in the city of Pittsburgh. I went to City of Pittsburgh Public School. I went to Langley High School. I grew up in an area called Broadhead Manor, Westgate Village. And at that time, it was a rough neighborhood, and for me, sports was my only avenue to get out of the neighborhood. And I thrived in sports, excelled in sports, and that's what led me to Edinboro University, Division I school to play basketball. Robert Morris University, a Division I to play basketball. Unfortunately, things didn't work out at Edinboro University, and I came to a place called Edinboro University. Edinboro University was a great experience. I would say one of the things, we live on the East Coast, we live in Pittsburgh, but there's no weather like Edinboro. Coming from Pittsburgh and coming to Edinboro is totally different. And I remember my mother came up here to pick me up one day, and for some of you can probably relate, the parking lot over McComb Fieldhouse, it was maybe March or April, and the snow was still piled up from the plow. And my mother pulled up and said, y'all still got snow up here. And they would plow the snow up so high, it'd be like a mountain, and it would last forever. And I remember my first time coming to Edinboro, and I saw somebody on the lake fishing. Now, I'm an inner city, as you can see, a black kid. Never saw nobody on the lake fishing. I'm like, they on the lake fishing. And so it was a total experience, even though it's 2 hours away from Pittsburgh, a total life-changing experience coming to Edinboro University. But with that being said, I would not change none of it. As I mentioned in my bio, my year here at Edinboro, I actually failed out of school. I was in a fraternity, of course, playing basketball, took things for granted, as most young people do, took it for granted. And I remember going back to my coach, Walkovich, and explaining to him the situation, and he gave me a second chance of life. He told me, if I go back home, go to CCAC, community college, and get my grades, he would put me back on scholarship. And I tell that story because I think somebody talked about it up here earlier, Bill, and his thing, you try to take risks. If you fail, you may fail. But lessons, it taught me a lot that never give up your dream. No matter how hard the struggles may be, how hard the obstacles may be, you can still be able to succeed from your failures. And that's what Edinboro taught me. And the other thing is, one of the things I definitely believe in is that, come from the inner city of Pittsburgh, is that your dream is all that you have. And I graduated in '95 with a criminal justice degree. I left here and I got involved with the Josh Gibson Foundation. So some of you may or may not know of Josh Gibson, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson played in the Negro Leagues. He was the second Negro League baseball player inducted to the Hall of Fame behind Satchel Paige in 1972. My grandfather, Josh Gibson Jr., founded the foundation, and I took over the foundation once I graduated. And my grandfather always had a saying is that all you have is your last name. And I took that last name and tried to do the best that I can with lean on the legacy of Josh Gibson through the Josh Gibson Foundation. We serve over 300 inner city kids in the city of Pittsburgh. We are in 3 locations. We're a partner of the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and we're also a partner of the City of Pittsburgh Parks and Recs Department. We just recently had our Black Tie Gala this past weekend. Over 430 people that attended, and a lot of our students were there. But the most important thing about Josh Gibson, as Terrence mentioned earlier, is me carrying the legacy, not just about Josh Gibson, but all the other great men. And as he mentioned, last year in 2020, Major League Baseball made the announcement to integrate Negro League statistics into Major League Baseball record books. Yes. With that being said, I've done many, many interviews about Josh Gibson, and it's always that Josh Gibson was one of the greatest black baseball players. Well, people can no longer say that now. Josh Gibson is considered one of the greatest baseball players ever, period. Josh Gibson will be now ranked as, in Major League Baseball, several of their Major League Baseball categories in the top 5. Right now, he's number 1 with batting average at .461. And so with that being said, we also are making a big push to rename the MVP award after Josh Gibson. Some of you may or may not know this, but Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was the commissioner of Major League Baseball, denied over 3,400 African-American men the opportunity to play baseball. Last year, the Baseball Writers Association removed his name off of the MVP award. The 3 names they're considering renaming the award after is Branch Rickey, who signed Jackie Robinson, Frank Robinson, who played for the Baltimore Orioles, and the only player to win the MVP in both divisions, and of course, Josh Gibson. And so with that being said, we do have a website, and our hashtag is JG20MVP.com. But the most important thing is that it's about poetic justice, redemption. How ironic would it be for Josh Gibson to replace the same man who denied not only him, but other African Americans the opportunity to play baseball? And so if Josh Gibson was to be renamed the MVP award, it would not just be about Josh Gibson. It would be about the 3,400 men who were denied the opportunity to play baseball. And in closing, I would like to say this. My journey here at Edinboro, like I said, was a success that I'm here receiving this great award. Also, for fellow students, never give up your dream. Never take anything for granted. Inspire other people to be great. Always think that you're great. In society today, we've seen a lot of things happen the past 2 years, especially to young African-American men. And as I see my grandson as a young African-American male, I try to teach our kids with dignity and respect to uphold their heritage, uphold the body of life. Because as we know, your life can be taken as easy as has been taken for some of these African American men in this journey. And so what I would say is that I am proud to be an African American man. I'm proud to be able to live the life and uphold the legacy of Josh Gibson. And I'm very proud to be an alumni at Edinboro University. Thank you.
So it's my pleasure to announce, do a presentation of another Pittsburgh alum who unfortunately can't be here tonight, but we do have a video that we'll show afterwards. Betty Cruz is 2009 graduate. 2009, yeah, in history and political science, originally from Miami, Florida. Betty is the daughter of Cuban immigrants and a first-generation college graduate. She earned her bachelor's in art history in 2009 from Edinboro. She went on to earn a master's in public administration from the University of Pittsburgh Graduate School of Public and International Affairs, where she was selected for the Johnson Institute for Responsible Leadership Portfolio Program and the U.S. Department of Education Foreign Language and Area Studies Fellowship in Portuguese. Betty is fluent in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Today, Betty Cruz serves as the president and CEO of the World Affairs Council of Pittsburgh. Through her work, Betty is helping to build a thriving, competitive, and inclusive Pittsburgh by helping its residents and leaders become more globally minded and connected. Prior to joining the council, Betty served as the leader of the Change Academy, a social enterprise which she founded in 2016 and is project director for All in All, an immigrant inclusion initiative. Betty has extensive experience in community research, outreach, communications, partnership building, and program management spanning nearly 20 years. She developed citywide initiatives for Pittsburgh Mayor William Peduto. Did I do that right? Okay. Peduto managed major accounts for a national nonprofit dedicated to building playgrounds across the United States and supported public relations for global brands representing a wide range of industries. In recent years, Betty has received several awards and accolades, including the 25 Essential Pittsburghers by Next Pittsburgh in 2019, Pittsburgh 40 Under 40, Global Pittsburgh Immigrant Champion, 2018 Woman of Achievement, 2018 Class Community Heroes Award, Islamic Center of Pittsburgh for Humanity Day. The Incline as a community leader, Peace Islands Institute and Turkish Cultural Center for Public Service, and the 2014 YWCA Racial Justice Awardee and Government. In 2015, Governor Tom Wolf appointed Betty to the Governor's Advisory Commission on Latino Affairs. Betty serves on several local boards and is a member of the BMW Foundation Responsible Leaders Network and is a Next City Vanguard. She is also part of Leadership Pittsburgh. So one of the things I've learned since I've been in Edinboro, we've kind of run Pittsburgh. You know, Edinboro's doing a lot of work in Pittsburgh. Her nominator, Dr. Jared Jenneret, describes Betty's background, skills, and expertise in education have prepared her to move beyond a personal comfort zone to navigate different worlds. She reaches out to immigrant communities with respect in an effort to acknowledge their individual and community contributions. Betty is being recognized for her outstanding leadership and activism. She unfortunately couldn't be with us, but has sent a video acknowledging her award and those who have supported her on her journey. Please join me in congratulating Betty Cruz as a 2021 Distinguished Alumni.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor and recognition. As a first-generation Cuban-American, first-generation college grad, I am a non-traditional student when I finally went back to school and walked away with a degree. That institution that believed in me, that took a chance on me, was Edinboro University. And I am forever grateful for every single person I met along the way, from the admissions office to all of my professors in the history department and poli-sci, especially Dr. Jared Jenneret, who nominated me. What a humbling, insane, surreal coming together of this journey to have someone who I admire so much, who's been a mentor and a friend, to nominate me. It's been a wild ride, and I think back to my years at Edinboro and I think of all of the amazing professors, the ways that Dr. Ron Spiller, I think I took every class he offered, the way that they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I knew I wanted to go back to school. I didn't know what would come out on the other side of it for me. And I knew I loved history. And I loved Edinboro's history department and really am forever grateful for every word of encouragement that was sent my way, for every piece of feedback and guidance. It was those words that ultimately led to me pursuing a master's degree. And every part of that experience from Edinboro on has shaped me to who I am today and the work that I do now with the World Affairs Council of Pittsburgh, leading our work in the region and some programs that extend beyond, really trying to get folks to care about global issues, to understand the history and its impact, and to do something about it. So much of that is grounded in my Edinboro experience. I served as an AmeriCorps Vista because Dr. Jenrette told me about this program. I can go on, but the main thing is the gratitude that I feel for this moment, for this honor, to be in such amazing company. I'm so sorry I can't be there today, but so much love to the entire Edinboro community today and always. I'm forever grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'd like to now introduce our provost, Dr. Micah Hannon.
Don't need the microphone quite that high. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the next recipient of the Distinguished Alumni Award, Dr. Jonathan Thomas. Dr. Thomas was unavailable this evening, but is watching the event live through, hopefully, in Columbus, Georgia, through our live streaming. So we're very pleased to have him with us in that way this evening. Described by his nominator, Dr. Lisa Unico, as a true scholar, Dr. Jonathan Thomas graduated from Edinboro magna cum laude in 4 years in both chemistry and biochemistry in 2011. After graduation, he was not only accepted into medical school at Case Western Reserve, but also received a 50% tuition waiver, which is nearly unheard of in allopathic medical colleges. In his 4th year of medical school, he was matched with Emory University's School of Medicine for his residency in emergency medicine. Both Case Western Reserve and Emory are ranked among the top 25 medical schools in the country by U.S. News. Dr. Thomas also served as a resident at Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, the 5th largest public hospital in the United States with a Level 1 trauma center. Today, Dr. Thomas is an attending physician in the Piedmont Midtown Medical Center in Columbus, Georgia. As an undergraduate student at Edinboro, Jonathan was selected for the Amgen Scholars Program, a biochemical research program co-sponsored by Amgen and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He spent 8 weeks in Dr. Joanne Stubbs' research group at MIT, investigating the mechanism for proton-coupled electron transfer in enzymes, which I can talk about a little bit after the event, or not. Afterward, he presented his results at the Amgen Corporation in California. His additional research experience includes work on fluorescence spectrometry, the inner filter effect as a research assistant here at Edinboro, the quality of living survey in pediatric sickle cell patients as a co-investigator at the Rainbow Babies Children's Hospital, and the insulin receptor PEP-CKC and the control of the lifespan in C. elegans as a research assistant at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. All very impressive, and I don't know what any of it means, but congratulations, Dr. Thomas. For those who strive is a phrase used at Edinboro in our recruiting materials. To Dr. Unico, Jonathan embodies that motto like no other student she has ever known. When he started his Edinburgh journey, Jonathan had already served his country and had started his family. With 2 young children at home, his drive to not only achieve his degree, but to excel in his chosen field stood out to all of his faculty. Like other working parents at Edinburgh, he had often come to class after a night shift, and challenges seemed to motivate him even more. His hard work paid off, and tonight, Dr. Thomas is being recognized as a 2021 Distinguished Alumnus for his excellence in scholarship. Again, he is unfortunately not able to be with us here this evening, but has sent a video of thanks to his alma mater.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Thomas. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Edinburgh University in 2011 with a degree in biochemistry. Following my time at Edinburgh, I attended Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. I then went on to do an emergency medicine residency program in Atlanta, Georgia. And I finished that program in 2019, and now I'm currently an emergency medicine physician for Piedmont Midtown Medical Center in Columbus, Georgia. In addition to my clinical duties, I am also involved in a residency training program where we work with residents as well as medical students from schools such as the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine and the Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine, or VCOM, in the fundamentals of emergency medicine. In addition to that, I've also recently been named the Assistant Medical Director for the Paramedic Training Program at Southern Union Community College in Opelika, Alabama. I do want to stop and say I'm sorry that I couldn't be there to accept this award, but I'm so honored to even be considered, because I know personally that Edinburgh produces some of the most amazing and exceptional individuals. So for me to even be, mentioned in the same breath as some of these guys, it's a blessing. But I do want to personally thank Dr. Unico for just even nominating me for this award, and everyone at Cooper, from Dr. Hoffman to Dr. Rogers to Dr. Gu, Dr. Smith, Dr. Cabetti, also outside of the chemistry program, Dr. Misra, because she definitely gave me a lot of guidance in my first year at Edinburgh. One thing I want to say to some of the students that are there now and the students that are thinking about coming to Edinburgh is that it's an amazing place. It more than prepared me for the rigors of medical school and residency and anything that I've really come across since I left the program at Edinburgh. So when you're sitting there and you're in organic chemistry or physical chemistry and you're thinking, how hard it is and, wondering why you're there, I promise you, it's all worth it in the end. The professors there, they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and wherever you want to do or whatever you want to do, once you leave Edinburgh, they'll make sure that you get there and beyond. But again, I like to, thank all of, my family members, all of the staff at, over at Cooper, for helping me get to this point, and go Fighting Scots.
I'm very pleased to announce our next recipient of the Distinguished Alumni Award. This is a person who I have found to be one of the smartest, most kind and generous men that I've met in my 34 years here at Edinburgh University, and I was very pleased to nominate him to receive this award. In fact, I was shocked that he hadn't received it many, many years ago. So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Patrick Cintelli. Pat Cintelli earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Social Studies Secondary Education here at Edinburgh in 1962, and then went on to receive his Master's of Education degree in 1963 from the University of Pittsburgh. He was awarded an honorary doctorate for business leadership in 2010 here at Edinburgh as well. Pat Cintelli retired in 2000 as a charter member of the senior management team at Pfizer Corporation, where under his leadership as senior district manager, his team broke multiple records, including surpassing $100 million in sales in 1999. He has served on Pfizer's diversity committee, developing the company's diversity goals, and stewarding the eventual rollout of a diversity program across the entire brand. Post-retirement, Pat remained as a consultant with Pfizer, educating and inspiring their next generation of leaders. And he continues this work today by serving Edinboro students. Pat is the current president of the Edinboro Foundation. He serves as an Edinboro University Alumni Association board member and officer. He is a member of the Edinboro University President's Advisory Council and of the Edinboro Business Advisory Council. Pat starts every board meeting with an inspirational or a funny story. He knows how to build his team, and he values the contributions of every member. He and his wife, Patricia, are loyal contributors to Edinboro University and have continued to build on their commitment to support new leaders through the Patrick J. and Patricia A. Cintelli Diversity Scholarship. Pat understands that there are many people from diverse backgrounds who face significant barriers to college entry. He remembers what it was like to struggle to pay tuition and work his way through college. He's committed to providing financial assistance and, through his scholarship, both motivation and support to students deserving of an educational opportunity. Before having Pat join me on stage, I wanted to mention that coming into this room tonight reminded me that this is the very place that I first met Pat a number of years ago. He was invited to give a presentation to students and the university community about his experiences, and was in this very spot on stage. And I was sitting sort of where the bar is, except there wasn't a bar for Pat's presentation. It was so inspiring, no one needed to drink. One of the first things Pat said during that presentation was, "How many of you in this audience have some paper and a pencil or a pen?" And I thought, oh crap, I have neither. And Pat went on to explain that every presentation, in fact, every encounter with another person is an opportunity to learn something new and to learn new ideas. And so with that paper and pencil, you can record a new idea, a person, a phone number, something that is going to help you continue to learn. And that is something I have never forgotten, and I actually have it right here in my pocket. Pat went on that day, again, talking with students. I don't know if they realized what an inspiration he was, perhaps until years later, but he talked about how these students could be successful in their careers regardless of what those careers would be, and more importantly, how to be successful in your life. And for that, we're very grateful, and he continues to give those lessons to us today. Pat is being recognized with a Distinguished Alumni Award today for his leadership, his service, and his philanthropy to the students and the mission of Edinboro University. Please join me in recognizing Patrick Cintelli as a 2021 Distinguished Alumnus.
Michael, I had no idea what you're going to say. However, I have a pad, pencil, ready to go. Well, thank you all for being here. Time is money, and you're giving up a lot of your time. So we appreciate that very much. When I saw the Borough magazine, which Sean held up there, and I saw all the people receiving awards, and then I hear about Dr. Thomas, I said, what the hell am I doing here? I mean that. Patty Cintelli, thank you for 56 years of marriage and 58 years of friendship. You don't do these things alone. You need a partner, and she's been my partner. Patty and I want to improve the quality of life of those around us, and the Cintelli Diversity Foundation is one way. We have others, but this is not the time and place. Thank you to our children, Julie coming from Huntington Beach, and Michael from Leesburg, Virginia. I tried to talk them out of coming, but I appreciate your families that you have, the educations you have, and the careers you've developed. I'm very proud and honored for our family. I've always told my salespeople, God, yes, I mentioned God despite my corporate memos, family, you, and then the company. I mentioned to Julie at lunch today that, people work hard. In fact, the CEO of Pfizer told me once that there are three things that could head in the business world. Work harder than the person at job before you. I changed that because I say work smarter. We all work hard. The second is to take the opportunity when it arises. And the third is to have an understanding spouse. And that's what I said earlier. Thank you, Joe Lodge, for being here, my college roommate. I reached out to him and told him not to come. It's too far to drive and what have you. But as soon as I said, I'm taking my kids to the hotel for a couple beers, he said, I'm in. Some things never change. Thank you, Edinburgh State College, not normal school, State College, for accepting me as a boy and leaving as a man. We have met many class people with Pfizer all around the country, and to this day, they remain friends. Phone calls, emails, get-togethers, what have you. However, the years volunteering at Edinburgh, alumni board, business school board, foundation board sitting over there, I have found the same class of people. Every time Patty and I leave Edinburgh, we discuss the great people and true friends we have. Thank you for those friendships. Finally, Pennsylvania is 47 out of 50 in funding for education. So write your representatives to change that. Thank you very much.
So I have the privilege of presenting the last 2021 Distinguished Alum this evening. And this is one that our office nominated. Roy Shin earned his Bachelor's of Science in Communications and Sensory Disorders from Edinburgh University in 1982. He then attended the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center, earning a master's degree in audiology and a doctorate degree in hearing science. He began his clinical career in a medical practice in Oklahoma City and his academic career at Western Kentucky University. Dr. Shin was a faculty member and an academic advisor at Edinburgh University for 27 years, teaching courses in speech acoustics, anatomy and physiology, assessment and treatment of hearing loss, and professional issues in speech-language pathology. He served as the chair of the Department of Communication, Sciences and Disorders, and director of their CAA-accredited speech-language pathology program. He served on the NCAA faculty athletics representative and associate dean in the College of Science and Health Professions before retiring in 2020. Dr. Shin is a fellow of the American Speech Language Hearing Association and has served on their Council for Clinical Certification, Board of Ethics, Legislative Council, Council for Clinical Specialty Recognition, Committee on Advocacy, and as a site visitor for the Council on Academic Accreditation in Audiology and Speech-Language Pathology. He is a co-author of Ethics Education, a manual for teaching professional ethics to graduate students in audiology and speech-language pathology. My office chose to nominate Dr. Shin for this award for so many reasons. First, because he's a loyal contributor to Edinboro University, and he inspires others to give. He understands philanthropy, and he appreciates the role that alumni can play in advancing the university and supporting current students. He's a volunteer. He says yes when he's asked, and always has ideas to help improve outcomes of whatever you're working on. Roy continues to serve on the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. He just helped launch the new Dr. James Drain Speaker Series on Religion and Culture, and was instrumental to the continuation and growth of the Distinguished Alumni Awards when the Alumni Office didn't have the capacity to continue them. He's a fan of the university. He shows up, he's engaged, he's present. It's clear that this campus is an important part of his community and his life. He supports his colleagues, and he wants to see Edinboro succeed. Former dean and colleague Dr. Denise Oler described the long history that she shared with him at Edinboro. I first knew Dr. Roy Shin as caring and astute professor of audiology and speech-language pathology. He distinguished himself as an excellent chairperson, leading his department to surpass others in developing stellar graduate and undergraduate programs. When I asked him to work with me as associate dean, Roy selflessly left his faculty position to serve the newly founded College of Science and Health Professions. Most importantly, Dr. Roy Shin is a champion for our students. I think Dean Oler summarized why Dr. Shin is so deserving of a Distinguished Alumni Award when she said, "Roy is passionate about his support of students and the belief that public education transports them to higher levels of success, economic status, and satisfaction. He has worked for Edinboro University with unparalleled conviction, dedication, integrity, and service to students and faculty. Roy initiated his efforts with advancement to develop relationships with prospective donors to fund innovative projects in the College of Science and Health Professions. It is fitting for him to receive this award for promoting these partnerships and championing the concept of recognizing our exceptional alumni as role models and products of Edinboro University. We're all here tonight because Dr. Shin continued to celebrate alumni at times where there wasn't capacity in other offices to do too much in that space. So please join me in recognizing Dr. Roy Shin for his leadership, service, and philanthropy to the students and mission of Edinboro University.
Well, thank you very much. Those were very kind words. I want to congratulate all the other recipients tonight. It's really inspiring to hear you guys and hear your backgrounds and how many of the similar things that we all share. Thanks to Amanda for pulling off this awesome event despite very challenging circumstances, and everyone who supported my nomination. Thanks for all of you who are in attendance in person tonight or on the live stream. There's several people that I need to thank. Dr. Richard Ficucci for recruiting me to join the Edinboro faculty, despite he knew I had an aversion to cold winters. But it turned out to be a real blessing to, be a graduate of here and to come back and to teach here and to work here for 30 years. I want to thank all of the faculty that served with me and administrative colleagues for your trust and patience with me. I want to thank all my former students in speech and hearing sciences and speech-language pathology. I'm proud of you guys, and I hope you'll always be proud of your Edinboro degree. I want to thank my wife, Ginny, for her incredible love and support, even when I was absorbed in my work for long periods. Nothing that I did here would have happened without her support, as Pat correctly said. I want to come back to her in a minute, but I want to also thank recognize my two daughters, Jamie and Sarah, and three sons, Charlie, Kyle, and Stephen. It's been a privilege to be your dad, and your mom and I are very proud of what each of you is doing with your life. Reaching back into my student years, I want to thank my parents for teaching me the value of hard work, love of the outdoors. I want to thank Our Lady of the Lake Church for helping me to grow spiritually during a transitional stage in my life. I want to thank certainly Edinboro University for being a place where a poor first-generation student could not only get to go to college, but could pursue a meaningful profession and begin climbing the ladder of upward mobility. I want to thank Coach Watts, who's here tonight, and my teammates. This is where I first learned about high standards and a passion to reach them. His men's cross-country team had won national championships in 2 of the 3 years prior to my freshman year. I only made the team because we were terrible that year. Probably the worst team in Edinboro history. So I had great timing. But he gave me the time and encouragement that I needed to improve. By my senior year, the program's reputation had been restored. We just missed winning another national championship. And I had the wonderful experience of spending many hours every week with many great athletes, seeing America and seeing what national level athletic achievement was like. My teammates were mostly from working class families and remain loyal friends to this day. I also have to thank, I don't know if she's on the live stream, Margaret Watts, for sacrificing her husband for so many hours, including many long weekends throughout each year. In track and cross country, it's year-round to help hundreds of adolescents grow into responsible adults. Midway through my senior year, I met a smart, beautiful, and interesting student, and we began dating. Ginny had transferred to Edinboro from Penn State and was in her second year in the accelerated program in clinical nutrition. I already had applied to many graduate programs in audiology, all far away from Edinboro. When I decided on Oklahoma, we promised to do our best to maintain our distance relationship. I left the day after my May graduation, but by July, realized that she was the half that made me whole, probably the 3/4 that made me whole. Found a seat for her in OU's accelerated nutrition program and asked her to marry me. She said yes. She transferred there in August, and we were married in Edinboro that December. So that is 39 wonderful years ago next month. So getting to go to college was improbable for me. I didn't go right out of high school. I never took an SAT while I was in high school because I just didn't think it was in the cards. I grew up in a 2-bedroom trailer in the middle of the Allegheny National Park, a forest. And I'm just an average Joe who, by the grace of God and good role models, caught fire. The odds for listen to this stat, and this has been for several decades. The odds for a first-generation college student from a low socioeconomic status family, the lowest quintile, to complete a bachelor's degree in less than 6 years, 10%. What is it about that 10%? We should be studying them and finding out what it is. Optimism and hope are often used as if they were synonyms, but there are important differences. Optimism is the belief that things will somehow turn out all right. Hope is a conviction that one has the ability to act in order to make things better. You have to believe that. Students of all backgrounds are more likely to succeed if they are in an environment where they are encouraged to dream big and be hopeful. The adolescent brain is more responsive to rewards than at any other stage of life. Incremental rituals to recognize specific milestones rewards performance. Rites of passage in earlier societies often involved pain and fatigue because it left a lasting effect. In more complex societies, certain knowledge and skills are emphasized. I've often wondered if student athletes experienced both kinds, and if that provided the extra boost that we see in their outcomes, their non-athletic outcomes. We need people in institutions who love the challenge of guiding unproven, unconfident, or disadvantaged individuals to help them realize and achieve big goals if they are willing to do the work. Without challenges, there's little growth for teachers or students. Without struggle, there's little reward. It's fun to be underestimated and then exceed expectations. Students who first know how much their instructors care tend to then care more about how much they know and follow them. In closing, I'd like to dedicate this award to those Edinboro students who overcame significant obstacles in their life and achieved their academic and professional dreams. Let's go Scots.
I want to thank each of you for being unbelievable representatives of the power of Edinboro University and our education here. And thank you for your commitment to your alma mater. I'd like to thank Interim President Dr. Pearson and all of my fellow presenters tonight. I couldn't have done this without you, and we definitely couldn't have gotten out of here by 9 if I had done it myself. Thank you to our sponsors again, EUF, EUAA, and Erie Brewing, and our partners at Rob Frank Media and Aramark. Again, we're so thankful that we were able to live stream and have everybody participate who wanted to. We know that this video will continue to live on our YouTube page, so you can access it, you can show your families, you can share it with others, you can, catch the thing you missed when you went to the restroom. We'll have that ability now, and that's something that we'll keep here for years to come. We couldn't do this without my team here in the room. If you'd please stand, anyone from Advancement, Alumni Engagement. Our marketing department, Kristin, Chris, Angie, please stand, be recognized. Events like this are truly a team effort, and we know that now more than ever, right? We've been out of practice for a while with these things, and especially these large groups, and we're glad that you could be here. We're glad that we could make it a safe environment for you and enjoyable at the same time. I would ask that our awardees and leaders please stay for a few extra photos. And then finally, thank you all for celebrating with us tonight. I've enjoyed the evening. I hope you have too. I think there's such great representation of who we serve here on this campus and who we serve really well and all the things that they go out and they do in the world. Please stay safe and have a lovely night, and go Borough.